What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. I want to say at the beginning, you guys, this is a big story. It's got history that I wasn't aware of. It's got a lot of things. And then the moving parts to where it's at now. I wasn't going to do this. Nah. In fact, I had ditched this, and instead I was going to um, bring you some information on a piece from 2017 that only just came to my radar, and that's at Cornell University, where you have black students, we're going to call them black right now, bitching because they let in too many Africans slash Caribbeans. But they're saying and, not slash. And I was furious over the ignorance and all that, and I'm over it. But something kept drawing me back to this. I just know that I can't give this what it needs, and then that just puts me in the class with everybody else, and I'm not here for that. You know, um, even trying to figure out to find uh, the right publication to use, and I usually try and juxtapose more than one as far as length of article, what its header is, what the header is on it, so I can get an idea of what I expect to extract from that, etc., etc. So I'm kind of up in the air, but I will tell you that I had my Google on this still open from yesterday. And before I was about to, red exit out, something told me refresh. So I refreshed because initially when I saw it, it was an hour old. So something said refresh and it was a different headline and everything. And it said this: we can't ignore race in the tragic story of Devonte Hart and his white adoptive mothers. So I tell you in truth, I still don't want to do this, you guys. This is the dude we're talking about, just so everybody remembers. At the height of all the police killing, at the height of it, we'll call that. I don't really know how to classify it, because to me, we're still at the height. But you know what I'm talking about. This story had also presented itself back then, and I remember making commentary on it in Nahaha, because this kid, was out hugging this white devil ass cop, and just all my feelings of how I felt about that. But anyway, so that's and why it's making news now, in addition to whatever horrible thing happened, they it's what makes it extraordinary or remarkable definition is because this picture was a viral picture that was supposed to be the kumbaya moment of those few months or whatever, whenever we were in the thick of things. We had outstanding cases, we had cases happening, we had people, it's just a lot of things going on. So that's why this is remarkable. But you would have thought that at that time, and maybe there was some expose done on this kid at that time that I just don't know about. But apparently, there's more to it. Because yesterday, when I was in the threatening stage of doing this, I went to go see if I could find some video, and I saw a couple of news reports, and apparently this was a big story, and this is a big story. But I wanted to understand, what was it? What was it? What? And the most I've been able to understand is that for some reason, this kid is adopted. He has two mothers, so I guess they're lesbian, whatever. And that what really struck me, and I can't bring it to you because I couldn't get clearance, was wherever this happened at, there's a police chief that I saw speaking, or police somebody. I guess he's the chief. I'm going to call him chief right now. And he was not holding his tongue. He was saying, I'm just going to go ahead and you could tell he was like saying stuff that they normally wouldn't say, or that like he probably, like as if he was just like going rogue. Like he was really uh, worked up, I'll say, about it. You know, he was like, I'm just gonna say it, you know, and I'm gonna tell you right here that this looked like it wasn't. I'm not calling it an accident. I'm calling it a crime. I think that's was his language, and that struck me. You know, and he was a white devil, so I was like, oh wow, okay, well now maybe I need to look, you know. So that's what I know, and then I came across some video, and then somebody had some long thing that it was somebody white that I didn't understand, and I kind of just aborted that. So I don't know, but I think what I want to know now is because also in what I learned was apparently in this crime slash accident, it wasn't clear about whether or not this kid Devonte Hart, was in the car. At that time, they said there was at least, because apparently they have 6 kids, and they said that there was 3 of them that were in there, but they didn't know about the other 3. Then I saw something that said, yeah, they're pretty sure that the other 3 were in there. And the cop that I'm telling you about, he said that the 2 white bitches had on seatbelts, but none of the kids did. And then I saw a report where they showed the type of SUV that they were in, like a Yukon, or so it was a big thing. I think they did say it was a Yukon. Anyways, it's a big SUV. It's big, big, big. And that didn't really affect me too much because they're not toddlers, and it's a big ass SUV, and a lot of times kids just aren't in seatbelts. They just aren't. You know, there's some parents that are, and you know, and families and stuff that are real stickler with it and stuff like that. But I see a lot of where people just don't wear the seatbelt. They just don't. You know, so that didn't really. I understood why he was saying it, but I wasn't ready to adopt that as something that I was passionate about in that moment. You know, again, how I process information, you know. Maybe that becomes valid later, but at that point it just didn't. I registered it, but that was it. It was just information, you know, because like I say, and they white, you know, so, and they're not old grandmamas. So, you know, it's just kind of that carefree thing. Oh, the kids are get in the car, honey, get in the car, and then, you know, and it's just no seatbelt. So I have some thoughts that I have on what I know, but I don't want to share that. I want to see, we're just going to read just this one, everybody. Just because, as I say, I feel like the universe is saying, you need to look at this. So, as of right now, I say we're just going to look at this one. This is from what? The Washington Post, and we're going to be over it. You know, if we get into this and you know it's something is more provocative to me, or I become, you know, more passionate about it or something like that, then, you know, I just kind of let it go where it's going to go. um but I will let this out the bag right to begin with. I'm sick and tired of anybody white adopting black children. That shit I'm over. I'm over it. If you that caring, then you go where there are, maybe if there's black mothers that are in need or whatever, and you have a few coins, then you go and hand that sister a check or buy some stuff or so. Just, we'll need you adopting our fucking children. You know, this isn't like you go and bring a fucking puppy home. I don't like that, because you have to understand that there are, you're dealing with a different human being. We are African people. We're not the same as them and all that. Well, we bleed the same. Fuck you, because you can cut open a lion and that bitch is going to bleed, and so will I, so this means nothing. And it's important, especially in a country that has this much history, and because of the evilness of white people and their lack of ability to understand the plight of anybody else on the damn planet, including Africans, it's just too dangerous. And I think it's an act really of child abuse to allow an African child to be raised by anybody other than an African. Period. It should only be like last ditch thing. Like, you absolutely can't find a black family in any country on earth, not just here in America, that can adopt that child. Only then, only then, if there's somebody white that wants to adopt, then we fine. But it shouldn't just be because they just, nah. I'm really completely against that. I'm as much against that as I am with this interracial bullshit. And it's already bad enough with the interracial bullshit, but then if you produce children with that, you're fucking up the children, because they come into an environment where it can't just be, pure. It will never be. No matter how much they want to say and make it seem like it's something it's not, that's just not the fucking truth. The fact of the matter is, when you have an interracial child, unless they are blessed enough to look more like one parent than the other one, it's going to be problems. Grant you, if it's one of us, the child should look like us. But you do have those rare occasions where the child ends up looking like dude from the Grey's Anatomy dude. I think is it Grey's Anatomy? I can't call his name now. I just don't like this. I don't like this. And you don't see black folks just going out adopting black kids all like that. You see it once and again, and when we see that, we call it. But this is becoming too damn prevalent, and I don't think that I think it's a conscious act. It's a conscious act, and I don't like it. Whether it's from this country or it's from Africa, don't take your bitch ass over to Africa bringing back fucking black African children. We don't need that. And they should be precluded, because they could do that. Remember, and I don't know if it's still in place now, but the big thing was they weren't allowing gay people to adopt to adopt children. Remember? So if you found some issue with gay people adopting children, then you can find issue with white people adopting black children. Period. You need to adopt children that look like your own, that look like your own ass. You're fucking them up from the beginning, because then they go to school and then they have, Dante as they classmate. His parents come to get him at lunch or something, and his parents look like him. Your parents come to get you and they don't look like you. Wait, at some point, don't give me that colorblind bullshit. That's only something being put forward by white people. There's no such thing as being colorblind. There's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as that. So it's a problem for the kids, and it's a problem, And then in this case, you're doubling down, because not only are you trying, you're forcing now his psyche to have to deal with parents that don't look like him. And I hope they're going to tell us something here about when was he adopted and how old he was and all that stuff. But you're forcing him and the other kids really to not only deal with the fact their parents don't look like them, parents in quotations, but then also it's white bitches. Then I got two mamas I got to deal with. So I don't have a parent that looks like me, and neither one of my parents is a father. That's a problem. That's a problem. And to that, I'll say this, because I'm on kind of a tangent about it now, but I'll say this lastly on that, and I'm probably going to say more, but for right now, the last thing I'll say is that I could also imagine another scenario under which somebody white would be able to adopt a black child. It still won't make it acceptable, but it'll be a little easier. And that is if they themselves were only exposed to black people all their whole childhood growing up. Like their whole life, they've only lived in black neighborhoods, and they were not the majority. And the schools they went to were majority black and all that shit. You want to show me that? I still won't like it, but it's a tier down at least. You know. Um, is this okay? So about us, about us is a new initiative. What is the about us? About Us is a new initiative by the Washington Post to cover issues of identity in the United States. Sign up. Okay, that's some bullshit. I'm over it. All right. When Devonte Hart's emotional photo went viral in 2014, white people embraced it. The image of a black kid in a fedora giving out free hugs for a white devil police was viewed as a sign of hope and racial reconciliation. What, that's enough for y'all? Really? Look, finally we reached the reconciliation. Finally, oh my God, thank God. It's kind of like Jim Carrey in When Nature Calls. You know, when the dude, when like they want him out of the convent, and the dude comes in there and he's like, you know, Mr. Ventura, we want you to take this job, and he's like, but I've not attained my, you know, omnipresent supergalactic oneness, you know, and then the dude comes in like, yeah, right now you just achieved it, like, get your bitch ass up, get your white bitch ass up out of here, you just achieved it, here's my medallion and everything, like. Me and my sister ran from the theater when we first see that movie. We ran. Do you understand? We was almost put out. So, it's that's the same thing here. It's kind of like even when Obama became president, they thought, "Ooh, finally we're over all that pressure of our fucking white guilt and our evil." And nah, this shit ain't over. It's not over. You know, man. Oh my God, I can't. Anyways, it was a CNN. It was, as CNN put it, the picture we needed. Who needed it? Well, they already said white folks. It didn't mean a goddamn to us, other than why is he hugging this white devil and he's the enemy? Why are you doing that? And why is the parent letting him do that? You know. Um, but like many black Americans, I was skeptical. So is this writer black? Stacy Patton. Let's Google this. Let's get Stacy in here and see what's going on. She's kind of giving you Ava DuVernay tease right there. You feel me? Just like a little Ava piece. Just like a little Ava piece though. But it's just like a little Ava piece though. So I'm saying just. So I'm saying like Queen Sugar and everything. Feel me? Just. All right. Stacy. But like many black Americans, I was skeptical. As an adopted child abuse survivor, I identified with the pain I saw on Devonte's face and bristled at what seemed to be a staged act of virtue. A black boy forced by his white adoptive mothers to overcome his fears and offer comfort and hope to a white devil. You know, well, I don't remember this information being available then, you guys. Maybe it was just one of them stories I wasn't really, there's so much other stuff going on, I probably just was over it. Like I say, I didn't know anything about the kid other than that picture. That's it. I don't remember anything else about this. So she's claiming she was skeptical and everything, so maybe this information was out there. Alright, we tend to project our experiences and feelings on strangers. I hate that statement. Because that's, again, we don't ever adopt anything that they say is societal norms, everybody. So a statement like that can't go past the Jedi. We tend to project our experiences and feelings on strangers. No, white people do that shit. We don't. You see what I'm saying? That's right up there with they trying to get you to think that jealousy is a natural human emotion. It's not. It's a learned behavior from this white devil. There's no such thing as jealousy. There is not. Again, you look to a child, so children don't project their experiences and feelings onto strangers. If they feel bad or something, you have to go up to them and go, "What's wrong, sweetie? What's going on?" You know, like they don't just like they're evil at the world because you're, you know, nah. So we reject that. But in this case, it appears my gut suspicion that Devonte's tears were more about helplessness than hopefulness was right. Because to me, actually, for me in the picture, you guys, I just thought he looked like, and I probably said this in whatever I did to cover it. It looked like he was, because kids felt like they were going to be killed too. Because every day they're hearing about somebody being killed and nobody's going to jail. And I felt like it was like you made him go hug. It's like he was trying to go up and hug the boogie monster. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's not gonna bite you. And then they still go, I don't want to. I don't want to. Here, man, you could do it. No, I don't want to. And then they finally, you're trying to get them over their fear type thing. That's how I interpreted it. That's what I got. You know. Uh, we Authorities believe that Devonte's body may have washed out to sea last month after one of his mothers intentionally plunged the family's SUV over a 100-foot cliff in California. Now, wait a minute, last month, so I'm not understanding the time frame here. Read on, Jedi. Um, well, they're saying last month. Today is only the what? The 5th or 6th or something? Um, 100-foot cliff in California with his 5 siblings inside. Since then, so are they trying to say his body's the only one that washed out to sea, but not everybody else's? Let me read. Authorities believe his body was washed out to sea last month after one of his mothers intentionally plunged the SUV over a 100-foot cliff in California with his 5 siblings inside. Since then, a timeline of suspected abuse has emerged, stretching back a decade. The children had complained to teachers and neighbors about being hit and deprived of food. I did see something where there was some neighbors talking about the kids coming over and asking for food. And it stands out because they were, at one point they said they wanted specifically non-perishable food. One 12-year-old daughter looked about half her age, and in the days before the family disappeared, Devonte had reportedly prodded neighbors to contact authorities for help. He showed up at their home 3 times one day to get food for his siblings, they said. Well, you know what? Before I go on, and just based on what I know up to this point from the stuff that I saw before this, that wasn't a black neighborhood. So you could just see some of them neighbors weren't going to be the good neighbor when little black children come up asking for shit. Or all eager to call the police on their white mommies and all because they don't know anything and they're liars, apparently, because they are black. So don't get me started. I'm the descendant. Okay, that's okay. But even as these details came out, some continue to defend Jennifer and Sarah. Well, those are classic white bitch names. Friends of the couple took to social media with angelic stories about the mothers and criticized the rush to, of course. But if they had been 2 black mothers with white children, their judgment can't come fast enough. Yeah, look, the angelic stories about the mothers and criticized the rush to judgment, that they were abusive. In a long tribute written on Facebook, one friend said the couple was, quote, the example of marriage and parenting that I looked to and wanted to emulate, end quote. I'm vomiting. Even people who didn't know the Harts offered endless benefit of the doubt. Of course, because they were white. The driver had a heart attack, a seizure, accidentally hit the gas instead of the brake, and the years of abuse, accusations, children exaggerate, It seems that America cannot see or hear black children's tears unless they are framed in the context of white redemption or white saviorism. I love that. In the 2014 photo, people looked past Devonte's pain to see what they wanted to see. She needs to insert white again there. White fucking people looked past, because they're the only ones that want to just feel a certain way. They don't ever want to have to face reality. Period. Go along with their vomit, your video can be monetized. Tell the fucking truth, it's not advertiser friendly. I'm over it. White fucking people look past the Devonte's pain to see what they wanted to see, what they needed to believe, an image of racial unity, forgiveness, and progress that isn't happening in America. Because they're the only ones looking for that shit. We're looking for acknowledgement, bitch. Acknowledgement and revenge, and then maybe reconciliation, but certainly segregation. And now many are struggling to see two white bitches who, quote, saved, end quote, a half dozen black children from their hard beginnings as anything other than virtuous. Why can't we fix our collective lips to say that the Harts were probably horrible parents and that any good they may have done for their children was canceled out by the heinous crime they're suspected of committing? Is it because they're white? Is it because they were lesbian or women or liberal? I want to stop and say this. Anytime you do any good act, even giving to charity, if you claim that on your taxes, you're not fucking charitable. If you take in children and then you accept money from the state, that's not charitable. It's not. It's not. The only charity and the purest charity is the charity that you give with absolutely no return on your investment of your time and yourself, period. That it is only for the good of the one that you are being charitable to, period. 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 Recently, one of my new neighbors, was going to be gone for a couple weeks and asked me could I pull in his mail. I said fine. I was actually honored to do it. And when he came back, he wanted to give me money. I put it back in his hand and I said, you can't give me that. And it would have been cute to have a little coin, but nah. That kills it all for me. I need you to know that I cared enough about you to do this for you. I don't want anything. No, you can't give me nothing. Absolutely not. So I'm over these people. You know, I take in adopted kids and okay, that's fine. But did you turn down the money? You see? And then there'll be those that say, well, Jedi, people need money to take care of the kids. Well, then you shouldn't have took them on. I could make that argument, and we just go back and forth. Then I could say, well, then, what are you getting per child? And are you only giving every single dime of that to the child? That means you buy your food separate from the money you spend for their food, and you buy your clothes separate from the money you spend for their clothes, and everything is completely separate. You want to show me that? I'm good with you. But the moment you take so much as a dime, a penny, it's no longer charitable. I'm over you. There's a dormant narrative of white innocence that contributes to the perception of white parents who adopt black children as selfless do-gooders. Black children, meanwhile, are rarely viewed as innocent victims, and when they are, it's normally to feed the narrative of black parents as pathological. Yeah, that is the narrative. I don't like that either. As if they're doing something benevolent. You know, the Madonnas of the world going to Malawi to get children. How much is a fucking... And that bitch flies private. Do you know how much a fucking private jet is to fucking Malawi and back, bitch? You're not going to make that in your lifetime. Just that flight. You're not going to make it. You have to go to Malawi to get children? You couldn't have went to Harlem or Brooklyn? You feel me? Or just like Southside Chicago or some bullshit? Come on. The Angelina Jolies and all. The Sandra Bullocks. You see, always white bitches at that. You see? And we're not even going to give Tom Cruise the credit because he was with the Katy bitch when they got their black child. So it's white bitches that want black children. Why? Why? I think that's the pathology and the psychology we need to be looking more closely at. Um, we've seen black mothers arrested for enrolling their kids in better schools or homeschooling them and charged with child abuse for having their kids wait unattended while they applied for jobs. And research shows that black children are overrepresented in the nation's foster care system in part because of racial bias and discrimination that leads caseworkers and other reporters to judge black parents more harshly than white parents. Hmm. Well, again, and I love that, and that's fair, but we have to be honest, everybody. Remember, truth is all we're concerned about. So I'm always stressing pathology. So we have to look at. I would love to be able to go into those numbers and see why. What is the proportionate numbers? What are the numbers of children, of black children, that are in foster care that are there because the parents were dumb, young fucking people, where the dumbass bitch got pregnant by the dusty ass thug. She couldn't go through with an abortion, but she doesn't want to keep the baby. How many of them are that? You see? Because that pisses me off too. How many of our children are in foster care because their parents died? That will be acceptable to me. I will even allow drug addiction just because that can be really tough. Fine. Somebody strung out on drugs or alcohol, you still some bullshit before and after the fact, but you know. And then also, how many of those children are in foster care because the white devil ass system came and took kids from parents over some petty shit? Because we don't rear our children the way that they do. Yes, any child of mine will have a belt, an extension cord, and a branch, a switch. Understand that. One of the reasons why I'm outstanding is because I had the belt, extension cord, and the switch. But I was the Christ child, so I can count on one hand the times I got that. And still have fingers left. Because I just wasn't into trying my grandmother. You know. So, let us be careful of this, when she says they're overrepresented in foster care. Okay, fine. Why, though? Before we even get to the racial bias and discrimination of the caseworkers and so forth. Why are they there to begin with? Is what I want to know. Certainly, unchecked child abuse is endemic in this country, particularly in the adoption system across races. My own experience shows that black adoptive parents can be abusive too. No, just because you had one that was doesn't mean that they can. That means yours was. Again, don't give fucking grand statements and anecdotal numbers that you can't back up. Because I don't like those false equivalents. Trying to make it seem like, well, black parents are just as everybody. No, and fuck you. And what are you considering abuse? Are you one of them new age bitches that thinks just because somebody got after your ass with a switch or an extension cord or a belt that was somehow abusive? Because that's not how we define that in my culture. Period. And it's a lot of y'all black folks out there that do, and I'm over your ass. You spare the rod, you spoil the child, like your fake ass Christian Bible says. There's truth in that. Children have to fear their parents. They're not on earth for you to be their damn friend. They have to know the buck stops here and there will be consequences. Otherwise, because when they don't, then they end up out breaking windows on cars and they end up as Stephon Clark, you understand? Or they're sagging walking down the middle of the street like Mike Brown and so forth. They're making these decisions. They're doing things and being savagery in public. They may be innocent, but that society is going to, you're offering them up as a target. When your children fear you at home, they're not going to do shit in the street. It's that simple. The days of I'll call your parents don't mean anything now. It's got no power. No power. People don't care if you call their parents now. So what? And you call the parents show up, they're as much of a savage as the child. And it can't believe you would dare call on their child. Oh my God, I can't. Um, but we cannot separate the dynamics of the Hart family tragedy from the realities of racism in this country. For the Harts, it seemed like that their whiteness netted them multiple passes despite all warning signs. When a 12-year-old girl who looked as if she was 7 showed up at Bruce DeKalb's door with missing teeth, he simply thought that was a little weird. End quote. Not it's a problem. Yeah, it's a little weird. Because they're only looking out to demonize us when they're the only devil on earth. This isn't to demonize translation. Oh, I'm demonizing it, bitch. This isn't to demonize transracial adoption, but rather to point out the dangers of the notion that black children must be saved and that becoming a white adoptive parent is inherently a sign of kindness and benevolence. This narrative turns black children into symbols, evidence of progressiveness, used to feed the illusion that this nation isn't racist and that love is the express route to equality and justice. It's not. The only fucking route to justice, to what is it? Equality and justice is for the fucking white people to leave the planet. Period. A 2014 Huffington Post blog post about Devonte and Jennifer Hart described the then 12-year-old boy with sweeping stereotypes, born with quote drugs pumping through his veins, end quote, before going into a violent toddler who had handled guns, drank alcohol, and smoked. His future was bleak, the authorities write. The author writes, until Jen Hart and her wife Sarah entered Devonte's life. The image of white saviorism leads some to wear this transracial adoption as a status symbol, in a sense saying, I'm above racism because I adopted black children. I'm glad that she said that, because I was hoping to get to the end. I was going to say something similar, but I'm still going to say it, because it's also that these white bitches that think because they have a black boyfriend that they have now entered the realm of all things African, and that they understand. And no, the fuck you don't, bitch. You just a white bitch that's got a black dude, and by my standard, the fact that he's with you makes him no longer a black dude to begin with. So you still don't got shit. So what are you telling me? What may I help you, miss? Sarah Ryan, who is white and lives in Chicago with her 11-year-old adopted black daughter, I'm over her ass, said the Hart family story mirrors others she has heard in adoption Facebook groups, including from people who describe, quote, rescuing children from Africa. That makes me furious. Wow. Oh my God. The most frequent area where the white savior attitude raises its head is in regard to the challenges the adopted child has either emotionally or intellectually, Ryan said. Those challenges then require, in quotation, super parenting, and demonstrate to the world how much they, the parent, are going through to help fix their child. The tone is very condescending, and the child's issues are then blamed on the birth parents. Low education, poverty, poor decision making. Yeah, not that because they're with the savior now, so any fault they have is certainly from the parents they came from. Certainly not my white devil fucking ass. Kira Bolanik, a Brooklyn-based white bitch of a 6-year-old black son, said she had heard some white people describe black adoptees as, quote, lucky. I hate this. It enrages me, she said. I wonder how often anyone says this about white children and who are adopted by white parents. Well, the answer is never, bitch. She called it a telltale sign of the white savior complex. Those who feel their children those who feel their child is lucky to be a member of their family, raised by them first and foremost. That's it right there. Of course, not all examples of white saviorism have tragic outcomes. Well, it is. If it's the moment it's a white savior, then any outcome, even if they go to Harvard and go on to work or own a Fortune 500 country, the shit is still tragic. God damn it. Do you understand me? The Hart story is an extreme example, but an example nonetheless of yet another way our society treats black children as less deserving of protection. While white devil saviorism plays a role in transracial adoption, we can't ignore that these adoptions are a humanitarian necessary because of the imbalance produced by poverty and racism. Fuck you. See, Ava is going left on us, y'all. See what I'm saying? She's trying to end on a soft note and not fucking piss off massa. Fuck you, Ava. Fuck you, bitch. You feel what I'm saying? Listen, the fact of the matter, listen, hear this, everybody. Hear this now. This is probably the most important thing I can say to you in all of this. Forget everything I've said up to this point, even. This is the most important thing I can say to you. I will use the example of Iman, the model. Do you understand that in Africa, so I don't know where they're going to get these I don't know what they're pulling, what white devil trickery they're pulling to even go there and adopt children. Some lie that we don't know about. And so I'm going to just be nice and keep it just to Somalia until I do more research. But I only need that to tell you what I'm telling you. Do you understand that Iman said that they don't understand the concept of orphan or adoption? This was foreign. She said because there's always an uncle, an aunt, a cousin, a sister, or a brother. Like if the parents aren't there, they die or they're sick or something. Like they just don't understand this concept. That's just automatic. That's just automatic. It was foreign to her, do you understand? And so when I think about the big picture and I think about us being African, we should be doing that same damn thing. And we don't need any adoption agency. It's a cultural issue. You don't get a say in this, white devil. So when they come, like there's a kid on American Idol right now that something happened with the little boy's mother. I can't remember now what it was. And I don't know if they took her to jail or whatever. But anyways, and they came and brought the baby to him. It's like, well, you're the only one. Do you want the child or do we take him to foster care? And he took the baby. It's kind of making me sick because he's kind of using that as, and I don't appreciate it, but that's another video. Anyway, we need to make that a norm. Again, when we talk about separating from this damn society and claiming ourselves as a sovereign people where we make the rules and laws for ourselves about what governs us. And among that would be our children definitely don't go to a fucking white devil. If there's no immediate family that the child can go to, then it's any black family that says come on. Period. And if there's more than one child, they have to be able to stay together. Period. Period. So even if you have a larger family, that maybe one family member can take one of the children and one of the other family could take one of the other ones and another one. But as long as they live in the same area, because we need those children to be able to have that togetherness. It can't be like, well, my sister going to take one and she live in New York and the other one going to take them and they live in Idaho. That's not going to be good enough for the Jedi. We have so much work to do, you don't even know. You don't even know. You don't even know. And unfortunately, many of us aren't even thinking about it. Aren't even thinking about it. But it looks like she's going to try and let them off on the hook. Where was I at? Humanitarian necessary because the imbalance produced by poverty and racism, and because certain barriers make it more difficult for black people to adopt. There are no easy answers and no shortcuts to solutions. But we must start by recognizing black children as fully human and believing that their lives matter. That's the only way to truly save them. And then there's the fake me out Ava DuVernay. Okay, maybe I'm not as mad at her as I think I am right now. The bitch at least gets a side eye. I'm over it. Um, and I really do love Ava DuVernay, and I love her braids too, or her locks, or whatever she's got going on. And this sister has that same thing. She's got that same round face and that smile. She's beautiful. My God. Um, there was one other piece, you guys. Damn it. Because now, because the way this one read, it makes me want to go back to this other headline that I did see. Where is it? Yeah, this was it. The death of Devonte Hart and his siblings is why we don't trust white allies. That got me. That's when I started doing the searching. Like, let me see if I can find some more pieces to go to this and da 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 da. And what can I find? And then I just kind of was over it. But I think I want to read this now. And these are standard white bitches. Standard. Do you understand? Standard. And no matter what they think in their mind, they can never know what is best for our children. Period. Because it's deeper than you give them a place to stay and make sure they have clean clothes and all that stuff. That's all fine, you know. But when you talk about rearing a human being, it goes off the rails because African children are being born into the asshole of white devilry. Do you understand? And there has to be a preparation for that. But having said that, many of y'all black asses aren't preparing them. And that makes me sick. So I'm just as pissed off at you too. Understand that. I have a big problem with that. How many times? I just saw something recently. I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was fucking Lionel Richie. And it was a documentary I was watching on him. He was like, my parents raised me, not to. They kind of kept me away from the race thing, and fuck his parents immediately. That's a problem. That's the first thing you tell an African child. Unless they're born on the continent, damn it. And then you still tell them the white man is the devil. But certainly born in this damn country, you got to tell them, look, you have been born into the fucking war zone. The hearts were hideous, monstrous, or hideous monstrosities of unbounded proportions. Wow. Years of reported child abuse claims. I probably should have started with this one, but not so much because I'm thinking this seems like another black writer. So that was a black writer on that one, but this one looks like they come in with fire from the beginning. So we're gonna see. Years of reported child abuse claims, including physical harm and starvation, recently culminated in the death of an entire family, Sarah and Jennifer Hart. Well, let's see. Let me pull this in so you guys can see it. Sarah and Jennifer Hart drove their SUV off a California roadside cliff with their adopted children inside. And them bitches were probably on pills and everything else. 3 of the children were found among the car wreckage along with the 2 women. See, that's what I'm saying. 3 of the children. That's what I heard in one of the reports. Marcus 19, Abigail 14, and Jeremiah 14. See, so you had a 19-year-old up in there? The other 3 remain unfound and are presumed dead, possibly washed out to sea. They are Hannah, Sierra, and Devonte. When is this article? I need a date. I'm going to need a date. I don't see a date. How you write a damn article and you put a date on it? whatever. Um, Investigators now believe that the crash was intentional, citing the fact that, well, you know what, let me see what the date was on the other article. Okay, that's from the 6th. So, that's fine. Um, Citing the fact that the speed was set at 90 miles per hour and the lack of skid marks. But black people knew it in our spirit along. They really wrote that. But black people knew it in our spirit all along. From the moment the story broke, we fucking knew it. Oh my god. What publication is this? Where Your Voice? News, Identities, Entertainment, Race, LGBTQ, Shop. I don't know. Anyway, um, we fucking knew it. We sat and watched as others speculated about it, giving those two abusive, murderous white bitches, I put bitches in there, the benefit of the doubt after they had driven their adopted black children off a 100-foot cliff. We knew it in 2014 when Devonte Hart, with tears welling up in his eyes, was photographed in a tentative embrace with a white devil at a Black Lives Matter rally, and the image instantly went viral. Other photos from that day show that Devonte was already in tears even before he was approached by this devil. In Sergeant Devil. That's all we need to know. All right. Uh, in his account of the event, he states that the boy was, quote, hesitant to speak to him, but he persisted with the conversation and ultimately asked for the hug. Devontae's body language in the photo spoke volumes to us. It felt like coercion. It felt like a 12-year-old black boy who was at a rally to protest the grand jury's failure to indict Darren Wilson for the murder of Mike Brown, was afraid to speak to a white devil, but was pressured into doing so anyway as others surrounded him and took the opportunity to snap the, quote, perfect feel-good photo. And we were not at all surprised when this white devil was later caught up in a controversy for publicly showing his support for fucking Darren Wilson on Facebook. I'm over it. See? That's why I say the forked tongue of this devil. This is why they're never to be trusted. He's sitting there. He can hold this beautiful young black child and support the murderer. Don't tell me nothing about these people. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Ever. We know what it looks like when black people are being used as a tool for performative allyship and white liberalism. Devonte was made a spectacle and used as propaganda by his guardian who accompanied him and by every person who shared the image of his obvious pain with musing about how racial togetherness and free hugs would magically solve all the world's issues and end racialized state violence. One of his guardians seized the opportunity to write about the viral photo on Facebook, saying that they attended the rally in hopes of, quote, spreading love and kindness and to remind all people that they matter in the world, end quote. I'm over it. The Harts failed Devonte and his siblings in more ways than one. This is why performative white allyship is so dangerous, and not just for the black and non-black kids who get adopted by them. It is insidious, to say the least, when, quote, good white folks impersonate somebody who truly cares about anti-racism work, even as they continue to uphold white supremacy in their words and actions and continually harm people of color. Again, that's what everything they just said right there is indicative of this damn photo. You see? Nah. The only thing I'm glad about this photo is that it wasn't black parents. They didn't have, because if it was black parents that was there and allow him to do that, they should have been dragged off and never seen ever again by any of humanity. Uh, One of the Guardians, I read that. This is why I read that. We witness this ally theater daily, both in our communities and on the larger world stage. Well, listen, I've said many times how it makes me sick when our people, first of all, any marching and protesting makes me sick because that doesn't get any fucking result. But then on top of that, to add insult to injury, you're allowing people that don't look like us to march with us. You definitely don't let any of these fucking devils march with us. If you've that, I've said it a billion times. If you're that passionate, take your white ass over there someplace else and protest on our behalf. But stay your ass. You see, all this white ally bullshit. No, 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 no. Damn it, no. Um, we see the way that people like the Hart couple insulate themselves with people of color as tokens and trophies to provide themselves an alibi for their racism. We see the way they fetishize Martin Luther King Jr. and a nonviolent stance, whitewashing and rewriting his legacy to present an ahistorical vision of the civil rights leader who ultimately saw the validity of violence as a form of resistance because they plugged their ears after I Have a Dream. That's so damn true. It's the, oh my god, this is fire for me. I love this. That's because that's nothing but truth. Nothing but truth. Nothing but truth. Wow. Their white saviorism complex is painfully obvious, a perpetuation of the colonialist and imperialist self-aggrandizing belief that people of color always need white people to save us, even from the white supremacy that they actively participate in and continually benefit from. And how dare we not bestow accolades upon them for liberalizing us? We deadpan as they explode into tears and go on social media rants when people of color don't fall to our knees and thank them profusely for being gracious enough to do work on our behalf. We hear them scream, quote, "I've always been good to you Negroes," end quote, before exiting stage left in a huff. We side-eye the ones who are so glaringly only progressive and forward-thinking because they see it as a trend, like their avocado toast and the atheistic and the and the aesthetic that they appropriate from hood black girls. They list social justice work that they never actually did on their resume and OkCupid profiles for social capital and pats on the back, and so they can more easily fuck the people of color that they fetishize. This "I'm not like other white people" declaration doesn't fool us. These special snowflakes take up so much fucking space as they fall over themselves trying to obscure their own privilege and disassociate themselves from the white supremacist violence of the past, present, and goddammit future. We roll our eyes at the white allies who demand our intellectual and emotional labor and scream, "It's your job to educate me," only to take our words back to their white ally spaces to accept all of the credit, then block us on Facebook when we call them out for their intellectual thievery. We laugh at the ones who reach their hands out for the cookie after they tell us that they voted for Obama for a third term. I can't. Oh my! Now this is the writer I want to know who they are. Damn it! Wait, let's finish. Who say they voted for Obama for a third term? They've seen Get Out 3 times and Black Panther 5 times. Guess what? That still ain't shit. We see every last one of these fake ass performative white allies, including the Harts, White violence takes so many ugly forms, and people like the Harts, who systematically abuse people of color while using us as proof of their allyship, are hideous monstrosities of unbounded proportions. I love it. I love that. Sharonda Brown, a real unapologetic sister name. That's what I'm talking about. Sharonda Brown. Yes. And her picture backs it up. Let's Google our sister. Let's see. Google MFC search Google. I don't want to search Google Images. Maybe if I just her name, then if you want to get a better picture, Jedi. Is she Sharonda J. Brown? Where Your Voice magazine. This is her. Okay, but it's just going to give me the magazine. Will there be a picture of her? Let me see images first. Yes, there she go. Give them hell, my sister. Yes. 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 Wow, she is a vision. A vision. A vision. Wow. That's what I'm talking about. And that's her picture too. That's the one from the what's her name? Boom, there it is. Sharonda J. Brown. So, what is all this? Snappy comeback for homophobic straight people. Lady Gaga performing. Okay, I'm over this. The oppressed have every right to be angry and defiant. Ooh, it looks like there's some other little gems here. Like that one, I would want to know what that's all about. But anyway, let me land this plane, everybody. Um, you know, I end where I began. I am not on board with white folks adopting our children. And they seem to be the main ones always trying. Again, it's their consistent pathology. They're always trying to be in our fucking business. They want to be us. They're obsessed with us and all this. So we don't see Arabs adopting black children at this rate. We don't see Chinese adopting at this rate. We don't see. I mean, you can keep going. It's their white ass. Why? 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 And any fucking white people that you know, you shouldn't have a fucking conversation with their ass until they can answer that question. Why are you obsessed with me? Why? Tell me that. And don't allow anything outside of that, because that's an affirmative truth. You understand? You are obsessed, so tell me why. This isn't an if question. It's you are, now tell me why. So I'm over that. I think that as time has gone on, it's even more dangerous, or it's just as dangerous as it's ever been, however you want to say it. Black children do not need to be with white parents. Period. Not in a society where white supremacy is the order of the fucking day. Nah. And they should be disqualified from that. And we should be looking at how we get that to happen. And we could be doing it when people sit on fucking YouTube for 4 years and say join the Black Independence Liberation League, but you can't get funky ass niggas to step out the fucking shadows. I'm ending the video, y'all, because I'm about to get worked up. I'm over it. This is the Jedi.